Hello everyone, welcome back to the Diary of Football Coach, a podcast where we bring you coaches to discuss different topics about the grassroots world. So, if you're a football coach, a volunteer, or simply someone who wants to learn about football, please stay with us. We have very interesting conversations today with Giorgi. I'm your host Anastasios, and today we're diving into football analysis, the numbers, the patterns, everything hidden behind, and the game is just changing so fast, so data is very, very important in today's world football. So today we have Giorgi with us, Giorgi Lazarashvili, is that correct?
It is.
Hello Giorgi, thanks for accepting the invitation. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in football coaching and analysis?
Yes, so firstly, thank you so much, Anastasios, for the invitation. So again, my name is Giorgi Lazarashvili. So I'm from Georgia, currently living in London and working for Arsenal Development as a coach, and also I'm a first team analyst for a Georgian club. The Georgian club is called Dinamo Tbilisi. This is where the players like Kvaratskhelia or Bamardashvili are coming from. So it's like a big brand in Eastern Europe, and it has one of the biggest academy in Eastern Europe so as well.
Perfect. What was the moment that changed your mindset about coaching and coaching analysis? How did you get into it?
I was studying my bachelor's. I did sports development and coaching degree. Then I was fully focused on coaching side of football. And one day I realized that I need to improve my analytical side as well, because that's where the football is going right now. It's more data analysis, it's more video analysis. So I thought it could be a good option for me to explore that side of football as well. Therefore, I did study my master's in performance analysis in football, which I enjoyed a lot. I gained lots of information about data, Excel, for example, how to calculate the data of each player or the team players. So, and this helped me on my coaching sessions as well.
So now we understand a little bit about your journey, which it looks very interesting. What was the first steps you took into coaching analysis? How did you start get into it?
Sure. When I was coaching, I started my coaching in Juventus Academy London. So I was a coach there for one first year. So then after first year, I realized I should have had more information about analysis as well. Therefore, I did start researching. So then I implemented some of the studies to my coaching sessions. That was my first steps to the coaching and analysis all together, both together, which really helped me as a coach and also the players, because we did not only coach and me and my assistants, of course, but we didn't only coach. We were using the footages to improve the teams. Individuals and also ourselves as well, because sometimes you can see yourself in a video where you did show the, for example, negative body language. Therefore, when you see that, you can recall why did you do that. So, and then you just go back with a video and you analyze what you've done, what you could have done better, and it really helps as a coach as well. So once I finished my master's degree, then I did get an offer from the Dinamo Tbilisi from Georgia. So they were looking for someone who could work hybrid. So I'm working half season in Georgia and half season in UK. So whenever I have time here in Arsenal, free time in Arsenal, I'm flying to Georgia to work with the first team players. So actually, I work with the players like ex-national Georgian national team players. They're well
Okay.
known as well, and we also have players who are going to, for example, Newcastle title, and some are going to the top 5 leagues. I'm not allowed to mention them, but yes. And it really helps me to both sides. So also, there's a big gap between UK and Georgia. So my coaching and analysis really helped me to see the big differences into different leagues, and also it helps me to analyze what the Georgian players, for example, have to do in order to go to the top 5, at least top 8 leagues, and also what can, for example, Arsenal players, development players could do to go to the academies.
So what's the difference between the different countries that you analyzing football? How do you find the difference in football? Like, is there big differences or there are some normal differences?
So the thing is, it's because I'm not doing the first team analysis in UK, so it's mainly focused on individual analysis, individual development. So I use my analysis knowledge to improve the players in UK, so they can thrive. And in Georgia, so I'm mainly focusing on a team analysis. So I mainly want to develop the team, or help the coach to develop the team instead of just focusing the players.
What's the biggest challenge you find so far in the football analysis career?
And dealing with, as I mentioned before, dealing with the players, with ex-Georgian national team players, having the players like ex-Georgian national team players, having the players from the academy. So because in Dynamo Tbilisi we need to have at least 6, 7 players in a squad from the academy, because that's our philosophy. Therefore, working with the players from 16 to 17 years old to 35 to 36 years old with more experience is challenging for me. And also it's like helping the younger kids to understand football and understand of analytical side of football as well, and also helping the veterans, call them like this, veterans, to still be part of the football because they want to retire sooner or later. Therefore, I'm helping them to analyze what they need to do in order to stay fit, for example, and stay smart on the pitch, because sometimes they lose the pace. Sometimes they lose the strength, therefore how they can play and how they can, for example, use their physicality in a better way to be more efficient during the games.
Is this more performance analysis or is
It
just data analysis? What's the
uh,
difference?
so I do both. So
Okay.
with the performance analysis I mentioned, that helps them to included in a team, and data analysis is just analyzing their performance. So I would say how many passes they made, how many progressive passes they made. Then we sit down, for example, when I was in Georgia right now, I did first half of the season analysis. So we were focusing on the team analysis, for example, what they've done to first 5 games, how they improved based on the data, individually and as a team, of course. And also after 5 games, from 5 to 10 game, what were the big differences? So then they saw the progression on the data, and this really helps you as a manager, the first team coach, to build a trust in a team, because the data gives you the evidence. So once you have evidence, then you can talk to the players. You say, yes, this happens because we do well on the training sessions, or data goes down because we don't really do much on the training sessions.
Okay. So all these early experiences, how did they help you overall in the game? How do you see the game now different than
Uh,
how you used to do it before you start your performance analysis?
the, that That's a really good question because I did ask the same question to myself a few weeks ago. Previously, I was enjoying so much in football. I loved football, watching football. Right now, I don't really enjoy with football because I see the game different way. I see more analytical way. So sometimes when I'm watching the game, I'm focusing on midfielders' movements, how they move on and off the ball. And sometimes I ask the question to myself, that's not my job. I should be enjoying the game instead of analyzing the game. So
I mean, do you focusing on some? I mean, do you have a favorite position that you're focusing on?
not really, because I even sometimes I do analyze the keeper's movements as well. And
Okay.
so I don't really have the favorites, this, to be honest.
Good question. I just thought it right now. What do you think that does your football knowledge go somewhere like is expanding when you start doing analysis in football, or do you think it's just confusing you? Because I have many coaches tell me like, oh, it's that's very confusing if you just go in that way. If that makes sense.
Uh, yes and no. Yes, because it depends how you use it. So sometimes when you look at the data, you're like, oh, this is too much information. So you cannot. That's why I encourage all the analysts to study to do the PFSA courses as well, which is really helpful to understand what information you should be giving to each age group. So, for example, you cannot give the same feedback to 14 years old and 24 years old. Also, you cannot give the same information to the academy players or the development players or the first team players. Also, you cannot give the same information or same data or video or feedback to the players with different development stages. So some players, even in the first team, they're still developing. So you cannot just give them random data. You have to be really specific and focus on based on their abilities and definitely development stages they are.
Very interesting that because obviously it's different to coach from under 8s and different to coach under 14. So it's a little bit. It gives you some insights from each player on how you can
Yes.
speak with them. I mean, what kind of language are you gonna use? What's the difference between the early ages and the late ages of development? What kind of language do you speak? Do you have any advice for the coaches that they want to talk
That
about when they talk about more analytical way? How do you
that's
give them the message?
That's an amazing question because in Georgia I'm doing the teaching as well. I'm teaching in Dynamo Tbilisi Academy and also some of the universities. So right now in during this summer, I was visiting the academy and we had the same topic. So what
Okay.
kind of language we should be using in the different age groups. So I always said there are two types of coaching. So one is autocratic and one is a democratic approach. So during the autocratic, so it's you are more like bossy. You are like it's my way and you can't do whatever you want to do. So I use the autocratic way in younger age groups because yes, you can be the bossy. You can be they need to feel who is in charge during the training sessions because they are still kids, they are still developing, they don't really understand the mechanics of the game. They don't really know what the technique is, they don't really know what the shooting is. Therefore, if you be really strict with them, but I'm not saying you have to be like a general, then you need to do 15 push-ups before the training session and after training sessions. No, I'm just saying you need to be really strict with your methods. So they need to know more on mechanics. So if they do shooting or if they do passing in early age, you have to be really strict with the mechanics. So with a lots of repetitions, they should know what the mechanics are for each.
Give us an example of mechanics or shooting or something that you change when you saw something.
So, for example, the way the players run. So, for example, when you run, how do you run? You chest forward, how use your hands up and down. Some of the players got the hands down and running like with the hands down, or sometimes they throw the hands or in the air. So, in the early age, you need to sit down with them. You need to analyze the posture. They need to understand as well, and the leaning forward. It doesn't really help them because they might have the back pain and also the managing the hands the way they run. So if they run with the hands like this up and down, it will give them more speed and it allows them. It's like air resistance. So you go towards the air resistance. So when you use the hands like this up and down, so you going against the air resistance, therefore you run faster.
That's very
Or
interesting, actually.
and also the legs as well. So when you run, you need to bend your knees when you run and make big steps forward. So this will allow you to become faster, and sometimes the sprinters are using as well. So this really helps them because they really at a young age they really need to understand the mechanics and the foundations. So because once they jump to 14 and they don't have a good foundation, they struggle a lot.
About
Sometimes, but
you
but Mhm.
okay, go.
I will give you a good example. So one of the exceptions should be Raheem Sterling or Phil Foden. So their way they run is not correct running. No coaches in academies, I'm pretty sure they don't really teach the kids to run like Raheem Sterling or Phil Foden because that's really wrong. But however, it really works for them. So
Is what is working for them, but do you think that happens because no one told them on
yeah,
on the development side that okay, that's the way you run is not correct? Or do you
uh,
think they just
I
is the
don't,
body
I don't
that
think so. I don't think so because they're coming from Arsenal and Manchester City Academy, so their coaches are qualified and top class coaches. Therefore, I think they're being taught. However, this works well for them. Therefore, if it works for them, it's successful. If it Imagine if it didn't work. So when, for example, Foden is shooting or he's passing, he's bending forward. So
Yeah.
his back is bending. It's really wrong because one push and he might get a back injury. And yes, it's wrong, but it works for him. So
Okay.
he cannot really judge the player because that's his natural ability. So
Even if you
it's
say
not
that
even
taught.
with
the
the right technique is
Yes.
still it might not work for someone else. Like if you have a player, you just need to personalize it. Depends on the player you have in front of you.
That,
You
that,
need to start
Mhm.
to have the context. If the player tells you, "No, I cannot run in that way," what do you do? What do you say to the player?
It's not about how they can run, and there's no one way to run, for example. There's
Okay.
no one way of doing things right. So it's all about how what works for them.
Okay.
So if it works for Phil Foden, believe me, it doesn't work for a million kids. So that's why I said there are exceptions.
Okay.
So normally you see all the players are running the same way. Some are fast, some are slow, yes, but their technique is kind of same. However, there's some exceptions, like Cristiano Ronaldo as well. He's the exception. No other player runs like him. The technique is
Mm.
completely different.
So you talk about autocratic, you talk
Yes.
about basics and running and all these kind of things. What age we should stop being autocratic then and start being democratic?
12, 13, 12, 13. So
12, 13, why?
because from 6 years, for 5, 6 years old to 13, 12,
Mm.
13 years old, that's when you stop the development stages. So you've done the foundation stage, then you've completed the fundamental stage. So once you finish the stages, then you are on the stage where you need to start exploring. You need to start revealing your abilities and talents.
Okay.
That's where the analysis comes more in your game. Therefore, you need to show what you're capable of. So that's why you start using democratic approach. And also like yeah.
What is Oh, okay, go on, go on.
Democratic approach is giving them opportunity to explore. I will give you the session. I'm really strict on my mechanics and the principles, how we want to play or how we want you to play. However, if you see there is, for example, better solution, explore it. I'm okay with it because you are already developed, because you already know what are the foundations of the game. Therefore, once you reach the 14 years old, as Arsene Wenger said, if you are 14 years old and you don't have a technical ability, you will never be a football player. Therefore, if you don't focus on technical ability and the mechanics at the early stages, then it will be really, really hard for you to start developing yourself individually to be the top level.
So how do coaches should approach the players and after 13? What they should say the first thing when they want to correct something?
It's a democratic approach. So it's like, yes, sometimes I will give you the information, you explore, you might come out with the better solutions. However, we are focusing on the principles we have in the team.
Can you share a moment that you help actually player improve on something by either autocratic or democratic approach?
That's a good question. We like in Georgia, we had one training session. We were focusing 1v1, and once we've done the 1v1s, we became 2v2, 3v3s, and after 4v4s, we did the crosses from the side. So we had one player who was really struggling because we had the principle. So we had 4 strikers and 4 defenders, 4 attacking players and 4 defenders. So one should be running inside, and the winger should be doing the overlapping instead of staying wide. So the thing is, yes, that's a principle of play. That's how the team wants to play the game. However, it doesn't really suit the player because he prefers to stay wide. That's where he is more comfortable. Therefore, we spoke to the player. We showed the footage. We said, if you like to explore, if you like to stay wider and show your ability, yes, but look for the gaps. That's why video analysis and data analysis and performance analysis comes in now. So it's like, yes, that's our principles of play. However, you have to be smart. You have to use your talent wisely. Yes, that's the way we want to play. However, if you want to change, for example, change the momentum of the game or change the direction of the game, you can shift different ways. So it's like accepting our principles of play. However, you have to explore on your own as well.
So I was talking with a coach that he gave me some good insights on the UFC that I was doing, and he was telling me that all the data are really, really good that you have, what you find, and everything you need to take about the data these days. But what the data does not tell you. Can you think anything that that data does not tell you inside the pitch? When you see a player, what a part of the data, what else do you see?
Firstly, it's a human side because we are humans. The data doesn't show the emotions. So how the players reacted, what were the situations around him. Yes, I made the wrong pass. So for example, as a registered, I might have 5 wrong passes and 5 unsuccessful passes and 10 successful passes. Then you're like, what was around me? Why did I not make the successful passes? Was it my fault and somebody's fault? So it's like it doesn't really show what was around the situation. And also the other side is data doesn't really give you the full information of the team. So if the team is passing, so if the team, for example, if the defender is passing 95% per game, where the passes go? Is it going backwards? Is it going to side? So does it really help the team to develop? Does it really help the team to win the game? Not really, because the passes are from the side to side. So it's more like the safe passes. When you look at the data, you might say, oh, this defender should be amazing because he has 95 unsuccessful passes, 95%
Where
of
the passes
successful
go?
passes. But where the passes go? Is it safe passes or is it just passes to the goalkeeper?
Do you have any tips for the coaches that they don't have video footage analysis, because many grassroots coaches that don't really have the privilege to have video on the coaching or the training or even in the games? And do you have any tips to give them? How do they take the data, or how do they approach the game, or how do they even see the game in different way than like it used to be before?
Yes, yes, I have the answer for that. It works for me. It might doesn't work for somebody else. So, I have at least two objectives of the game. So I'm mainly focusing on two, maximum three objectives of the game. So if I want to analyze the game, I'm mainly focusing on these three objectives. So, for example, if my objective, one of the objectives is how the team is defending, then I'm not really focusing, I'm not really analyzing and paying attention to the attacking side of the game. I really enjoy watching them, but I don't really correct them much because my main focus is at the back. And also, if you have an assistant coach, it gives you advantage because then you have more eyes on the pitch. So you can place, for example, assistant coach behind the goal. So where he can see the whole pitch, then you are from the sideline. So then he can tell you where the team is making the mistakes and where for example the players are struggling much because as a coach you cannot have a full information of the game without the video. So you can only recall like 15-20% of the game. And this includes the corners, free kicks, goals. So you don't really remember much from the game. So if you make a notes or you have objectives of the game, you're fully focusing on these objectives. It really helps you to analyze the game after.
Give me three objectives that uh, you might focus on when you're focusing on defending, for example. Give
Yeah.
me three of those.
Like how do we defend? So defending principle could be like we stay compact on the pitch, off the pitch, and for example, if we play with two defenders, when one defender has a ball, he has to drive into the space while the other center half needs to cover him. So it's like more team and also individual objectives as well. So you have to focus on both because sometimes giving too much objectives to the team, it ruins the individualism to the game because it's their game. They need to explore. They need to find the solutions. Therefore, if you come out from the solution before the game, you say, this is how we want you to play and this is the objective, then it really helps them to like play better or develop the different side of the game.
And on the halftime, what do you say to the players, for example?
The halftime, I always say you have to focus on one negative and two positives.
Okay.
No more, no more information. The order would be the positive, negative, and positive. Negative, I'm not going to say they've done really bad. You have to shout to them. You have to correct them. No, the thing is, you need to let them know where they need to improve and what they need to improve as a team. So in the
Okay.
halftime, I don't really talk to the individuals because it's no point to talk to the individuals. It's their game. They're already stressed. There's lots of pressure on them because all the kids want to win the game. Therefore, just focusing on lots of positives will just boost their confidence, and also letting them know what it needs to be done in order to win the game or reach the objectives. It's just an amazing way to do.
So that was great insights. I mean, unbelievable. Because I can see the game a little bit on the grassroots level. So many coaches focusing on so many different things throughout the game, right? And they don't focusing on one example, so they confuse the players. I was doing it at the start as well, but then I start analyzing a little bit better and talking with coaches and taking certifications. But I've still seen coaches like focusing on so many different things, like focusing and defending and attacking, and kind of confuse players on what kind of information they should receive. And I think like we should more like communicate with the players before on what we focusing on, so they know already what's the objectives for today. If you just communicate clearly, then they already know in the brain what's the focus on today. Obviously they carry on with the games. Obviously if there's something on the attacking, you will tell them, right?
Definitely.
If you do everything perfect, for example, in defending, you obviously gonna have something to say about the attacking side, because you cannot just let them do whatever where they want. You just need to be on top of that, obviously. But I'm not saying that coaches just focusing on so many different things. They want to analyze all the game in 5 minutes, and that's the thing where many players look like, what's going on here?
Yeah,
So-
yeah, I agree.
I want to put you a challenge now. I call it like the coaches challenge, where you can create a session for us, and it will be based on something that you find very simple and easy. If you want an arrival activity or whatever you think is just right, it's a quick session that will help the coaches in case they're going on the training session now or on a match day, just to have a little bit push and a little bit different session to put in their games, and you can go.
So, for example, if you do that, if you're focusing on defending on a day, so your session is around the defending, the arrival activity would be like if you're working with younger kids, for example, 6 to 10 years old, it works really well for them. So you set up the 4 or 5 boxes. In the small boxes, then you have to pair them. So once you pair them, they have to work together. So it's like they need to. It's like the boxes are the safe zones. So the attackers need to reach the safe zones, and if the defenders win the ball back, then the attackers will become the defenders. So it's then after like this is really important part. After like 2 3 minutes, you have to make sure they change the partners. So they have to work with the different players. So it's like it looks simple because it's like dribbling and defending from behind, because you have to win the ball back from behind while the striker is dribbling to the box. Also, the rotating the players and changing the partner helps them to see the game different way. So you don't really always like challenge one player. So every game you have different players. So if you are capable of dealing with different types of players during the training session, it helps you during the game as well. So I think this session, it really, firstly, it helps on defending mechanics. How do you defend from behind? So, for example, if the striker is coming out from the box and he wants to reach different box, where you should be standing as a defender, and what are the mechanics? So, for example, when you run to him, it should go with a big distance and stay 1 meter away from him, because if you go too close, there's a gap behind you. That's where he can explode and run to the box. No, and keep the distance with him. Also, sit back, so bend your shoulders so you're ready to run. These little details, firstly, it helps them to improve individually, and also it helps them to, as I mentioned, dealing with the different players in the training session. So sometimes defenders play against each other, and often we have like strikers play against each other. So this helps them to improve the both ways.
Oh, that's actually a good session. I might use it next time.
Cool.
So, I have something fun for you. It's gonna be a quick fire challenge. Okay.
Okay.
So I ask you a simple question, and you answer like with one word, basically.
Okay.
Are you ready for that? Coaching or analysis?
Analysis.
Grass or laptop?
Laptop.
Laptop, okay. Instinct or stats?
Uh, I would say depends how you use it, but instinct.
Instincts, okay. Shout on the pitch or quiet in the data room?
So what do you mean by shout on the pitch? You mean the giving instruction?
Giving instruction on the pitch or staying quiet and saying nothing and just analyze on the room?
No, analyze. Stay quiet.
Okay, nice. So that was actually it. Give us one challenge that for the coaches, for the new coaches, that they can take for the next session. What they should looking for after the session, or what they were looking for after the game as well. Anything you want.
Any challenge which should help them
Yeah.
or the team.
Any.
So the thing is, I was thinking so much about this recently. So, how can you convince your team, I would say I don't want to say the best players, your uh, more skillful players, to help less skillful players to reach the same level? How do you help them to
Okay.
reach the same level?
Any tips on that? I mean, what's any guides?
That's why I said I'm still exploring. I'm still it's like you're dealing with the character, so
Okay.
you have to approach them in different ways, because yes, as a coach you want them to reach the same level. However, it's not possible. It's impossible to have all the kids at the same level. But how can you help the players to understand that they need to reach the same level?
That was really nice, actually. Do you have any sources that you're taking the data from in the grassroots level, like underage or development side until 12, 13s? I help you.
No, because of the safeguarding
Okay.
regulations, it's not allowed to share. But however, if you're working in academies, you are allowed to record the games as well. So some of the teams, even the grassroots teams, they are allowed to record. Of course, definitely if both team agrees, and then you can analyze.
Okay.
But
So, and
but
finally,
there's
last
no
question.
yeah,
Oh,
but
okay.
there's
Go
no
on.
but there's no website or any
Mhm.
data.
Makes sense. So finally, that's the last question actually.
Mhm.
What's something that we don't discuss today as coaches and that we should discuss
But
with all this data and
Mhm.
analysis and performance analysis? What's something that we should more analyze?
uh, that's the thing. That's a good question. That's made me think as well. The thing is, where do we want to go with our coaching or with our analysis? So yes, I'm doing all the analysis or I'm doing all the coaching stuff, but in the short term or the long term as well, in both. So where do I want to go with this? So yes, I'm doing this. I have a long-term development plan for a team, for myself, and but where do I want to go? So what's my biggest goal? It might be the short-term goal, it might be a long-term goal, but we need to discuss more about these goals because sometimes we forget about these goals and then we get lost in our dreams, with our dreams. So instead of focusing on the goals, sometimes we are just exaggerating some stuff.
Oh, that was actually really good because I kind of have kind of similar thing now because as you said before, you love so much the game, But then when you start analyzing it more, you kind of start losing
Yes.
the ability and your love for the game, because at the end of the day, it's just as coaches, we like the game for what it is, like for just watching it, not just analyzing it. But when you go so deep, then you kind of forget why you started. And I think that's one of the good advice I would give. Just go back to your first goals. Like, why do you start being a coach? Apart of just focusing on one thing and then go forward and then go back, see why did you start it? What was the reason behind? And this is what it can give you a little bit more motivation, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, to start having not just a passion for analysis, but passion for the game, loving what you do, and see where you are. And not many people in the world can do what we do as coaches, because and it's a very complex and very difficult job to do, I would say. And many hours on the streets, many hours alone, and it's not easy.
It's the coaching. Sometimes it's like people don't really understand what the coaching is, because you don't really deal with the players. You're dealing with the kids. You're dealing with the individuals. So yes,
You deal with the parents.
you're dealing with that's a different story as well. But yes, so when you're dealing with individuals in a team, so it's like they're the people before the players. So once they leave the pitch, some are completely different people outside of the pitch. So yes, so it's really really hard. So you have to look at the psychological side as well. So yes, you analyze, but you have to be a good psychologist. You have to understand the people, not the players. You have to understand the people within the team.
So, Giorgi, with that, thank you so much. That was brilliant. Honestly, we started in one way, but then we arrived somewhere else where I didn't know that we would go there. So
Awesome.
I'm really happy for that, because I love learning new things and explore different topics where I never knew that I will go in that way. Because for me, this is my first time I'm doing it. I've never did a podcast before. And so I'm really happy that it went that way. And honestly, anything you want from me, please let me know. Anything last you want to say?
No. Again, just thank you so much for the opportunity. The thing is, this podcast will help you as a coach if you're listening. So it helps you to understand different experiences for different coaches or analysts around the world. So you are not only focusing on one side of the football, you are focusing on different side of the football. So you might hear different things, different experiences, which would be useful in your country or your environment as well.
Thank you all. See you in the next episode of the Diary of Football Coach.